Hey 4-H family, Todd Williams, County Extension Agent, here to talk to you today about writing thank you notes. So we've just completed our Rockwall Youth Fair. Many of you were in the market sale, so it's an opportunity to write thank you notes. For those of you who weren't in the market sale, whether you had a breeding project or you didn't actually make the sale, you still need to write a thank you note to the Rockwall Youth Fair Board of Directors in appreciation for them hosting the event so you could exhibit your animal and you could showcase some of your competencies, your life skills and knowledge in doing so with that particular project. So here today I have some things that you want to know about how to write a thank you note. Now I know that many of you will have one ready at the actual youth fair. I want you to stop and step back and maybe do another one because your buyer deserves, again, your attention and a sincere thank you, not just something slapped together that says, "Dear buyer, thank you for buying my project." Not gonna encourage me to buy something from you for next year. And so let's stop and let's make some considerations about maybe what we're looking for. So I've got in front of me here a plethora of thank you notes that I have received over the years for several different things. Thank you notes can come in many different sizes and shapes. Here's just some of them that I have received over the years. And I really don't care about the front as much as I care about what's inside. There are some things that you can do maybe possibly on the outside if you wanted to. We'll talk about those in a minute. But what's more important is what's on the inside. I look at the outside, it's cool, it's okay. Doesn't necessarily do something for me unless you make it more personal. And so I'm just going to show you some that work. Here's one that came from a Texas 4-H council member. I did a training for them. And so they put some of the various things that happened at the training. So that made it kind of personal. Here's another one from Texas 4-H Council, and so they took a picture of the 4-H flag and they put it on there. So if you wanted to take a picture of you and your animal, possibly even while you were at the youth fair, that would make that connection for them, and that would make it more personal. You can do that. You don't have to do that. These other ones are very, very acceptable, and so understand that as I say that. But what is important on the inside is not just what you write, but how you write it as well. Because remember, you have written a buyer's letter in a professional format. And so my thank you, I want to also demonstrate that I know what I'm doing. And so sometimes it can be hard when we have little cards to write things on. This one is a full side of what was used, but I want you to notice this and notice how the lines are very even and they go straight across. They don't go down the hill, they don't go up the hill. Very important as I'm reading a thank you note because it's easy for me to read. It doesn't have to be this long, it can be a short one, but again, just the fact that it's easy to read. Now this one, it's a little bit harder for me to read. Maybe it doesn't have as good of writing as some of the others have, but at least look, it's straight across. And so an easy way to do that is just to get a ruler and just put some dotted lines across there in a light pencil as you write it, so you know where the line should be. That can help you as you're doing that. Also, write out what you're going to say on another sheet of paper first, so you don't have a mess up or a scribble or something like that. You don't even have to use a card. You can actually use a letter format. And so good things about this one, it's kind of a cool sheet of paper, okay? And so he thought he was going to need some space there. The challenge is this letter goes south, okay? I mean, literally, it goes south. And so if I turn it like this, it's probably a little bit more straight. And so easy one for this would be put a sheet of notebook paper underneath the bottom so I could see the lines that are going across it. I appreciate him writing it out very much so. But again, it goes south, and then we have some scribbles and some mess ups. And so I know it's hard when we're writing a letter. That's why if we have it over here and we're looking, we can say exactly what we want to say, and we know how we're going to say that. So just say, and don't say dear buyer, say dear Mr. or Mrs. or Doctor or whatever the correct prefix is on that, but actually personal. Talk to them, not just thank you for coming out to youth fair and buying my project. Let's get a little bit more there. Thank you for coming out, for spending time with the kids, and for buying my project. And then go a little bit step further. What does it mean? What is the impact for you? Because you bought my project, I can continue have another project next year. Because you bought my project, I'm going to put those funds into a college account to save those for when I go to college. And right now I want to do whatever, maybe I want to be an orthodontist or something. And so you can talk about those things, but make it personal. Help them see that impact that they're making in your life so they can see your appreciation and again, be a potential buyer for next year. So after you actually finish writing the letter or the thank you note, you want to put it in an envelope. Now, many times we get envelopes here at the office that are either not addressed or addressed incorrectly. So we want to talk about that real fast as well. So I've got just a mock-up here of what you want to do. All right. So on your envelope, top left-hand corner, as you're looking at it, you want to put your name, first and last name, your address, the street address or your P.O. box, whatever that is, and then the city, comma, state, and then your zip code. Now that sounds easy enough, but you would be amazed at how many people don't do that. And I want to show you some in just a few minutes. And then you want to move down to the center, at least the center portion of the envelope, to the lower right hand. And then you're going to write the address that is who it's going to. This is called the return address. This is who it's going to. And so you're going to write the business name, if that is appropriate, or Mr. and Mrs. or whomever it is. If you need to write both, you can write the business name and then a C and a slash and O, which means care of, okay? And then you'll put their name there. Then you're going to have their address, write it out, and then the city, comma, state, and zip code, okay? And it's important when you bring those to us that you have all of that information on there. And more than that this little thing right here, the stamp, okay? You've written it out, put the stamp on there, okay? Don't expect the youth fair to buy your stamp. Go ahead and put it on there. So it's done. It's ready to go. And we appreciate that very, very much, okay? Now, let's talk about some that you might not want to use. Here's one that was sent to me. And just the way that the name is done and things with all of these lines across it, it's just really rather confusing. And there's no return address, okay? This one is done very well. We have the name, the return address, and then it is to Mr. Todd Williams, and then it's got the address on it. Very well done. And look, the lines are nice and straight across. So we want to try to be helpful on that if we can. There's one in here that I wanted to show you that kind of blew my mind. Has a great return address and all of this. And then it comes down here and it has my address, my city, my zip code, but it's not to me. And so what was interesting about that, when I opened it, and this was several years ago, but when I opened it up, it's not to me either. You know, they could have made a mistake on the front and had the inside right. It's not to me. Didn't do anything for me, okay? And it kind of went, oops. All right, so when you do that, you want to make sure that you're sending it to the right person, okay? So make sure you do that. Fill those out, like I said, make sure you have something personal in it. Don't just slap something down. If you have challenges in your penmanship, it can be acceptable to go ahead and have it typed out if you have to. I would encourage you to handwrite it, and I would encourage you to use your best handwriting. And if you need to practice a few times beforehand, do so you get it down there and you get it right. If you can write cursive, I think that's appreciated. If you cannot write legibly with cursive writing, don't do that, okay? But when you sign your name, if at all possible, write that out cursive, okay? I know we're in a different world where we do a lot of typing and we don't even know how to write in cursive. So I encourage you to learn how to do that. But when you sign your name, that you would actually do that in cursive, okay? So just a little bit about thank you notes. Thank you guys for listening. I know that you're going to do awesome. I appreciate the time that you're taking to actually do that and the appreciation that you're showing to your buyers and to the Rockwall Youth Fair Board. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you next time.